We have a case studies topic on low Earth orbit and non-geostationary satellite systems. Introduction. TTH is one of the major application of GEO orbit, non-geostationary satellites used for surveillance of Earth surface, military data gathering, Earth resources data gathering, GPS. LEO satellites are small, simple and low cost. Then orbit considerations. There are different NGO. NGO is a full form of non-geostationary orbit. Orbits that are used for scientific, military and commercial satellite missions. There are 5 orbits: equatorial orbits, inclined orbits, Molniya orbits, sun-synchronous orbits and inclined orbits. Then equatorial orbits. Equatorial orbits lie exactly in the plane of geographical equator of the Earth, above the equator all the time. Eastward directed orbit is called Procard orbit. Two methods to launch satellite in this orbit: to locate the launch site on the equator and to launch the spacecraft toward the east along the equatorial plane, to launch the satellite into an inclined orbit and to execute a maneuver either during the launch or when a satellite is in inclined orbit that changes the plane of the initial orbit so that final orbit is in the plane of the equator. And then inclined orbits. In order to extend the life of the satellite, some satellite orders decide to put the satellite in an inclined orbit. The inclination of the orbit is the larger of the surface area of the Earth that the satellite will pass over at the some time in flight. Then elliptical orbit. An elliptical orbit, also called as eccentric orbit, is it in the shape of an ellipse. In an elliptical orbit, the satellite velocity changes depending on where it is in the orbit path. When the satellite is in the part of its orbit closest to the Earth, it moves faster because the Earth's geographical pull is stronger. The satellite is moving the fastest at the low point of an elliptical orbit. The low point of the orbit is called the trigger. The high point of the orbit when the satellite is moving lowest is called apogee. An elliptical orbit can be useful to a communication satellite because it allows the satellites to travel over the specific region for a long portion of the orbit, and it only out of the contact that the region for the short time when it is jingling quietly around the other side of the Earth.
Molniya orbit. Molniya means lighting in Russian used in communication satellite in high ethical orbits. Apogee in 39,152 kilometers in the pre-G 500 kilometers. Orbit period in 11 hours 38 minutes in article including in 62.9 degree. Signal from geostationary satellite cannot reach us to extreme north and Russia as 11 times zone, so to achieve a 24 hours coverage in Mongolia satellite use they spreaded by 180 degrees. Another one, the satellite in the sun synchronous orbits. This orbit is a special case of the polar orbit. In a sun synchronous orbit, the satellite passes over a same part of Earth roughly the same local time each day. There is a special kind of sun synchronous in orbit called an dusk orbit. In a dawn to a dusk orbit, the satellite trails the Earth shadow. When the sun shines one side of Earth, it casts a shadow on the opposite side in Earth because the satellite never moves in the shadows. The sun is always on it. Another one satellite is a delay and output configurations. Delay in communication depend on the distance of satellite and Earth. Delay of our geo link in half seconds. Delay for MEO link in 79 ms. delay in LEO link in 5.4 ms. Delay can cause the adverse effect on the output. That's all about. Thank you.